Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. Welcome to another This Week in Tennis. We're going to talk a little bit about Rome, but I want to talk about it from my personal experience since I went there with my buddy and contributor to Tennis Nerds, Stefan. We went there because he had never seen live tennis. I also love Rome. It's the food, it's the vibe, culture, history, and the tournament is great. There's plenty of space to move around. Not huge lines to the food stands, and a very good, nice viewing experience. We were also very lucky with the weather. It was sunny. We were only there for a few days, but we got to see some good tennis anyway. As you know, if you go second week on these long masters, you're not sure who's in the draw, and I had kind of hoped to see Sinner or someone like that, but this edition of Rome was a bit different though, with Novak going out early, Rafa as well, Sinner and Alcaraz not joining due to injury. The match we got to see on the men's side was Hurkacz and Tommy Paul, which was a good match in terms of drama. Maybe not at all times the most well played, but it was fun to see live and we really enjoyed it. I gave some tips about the Rome trip to subscribers of the newsletter, and we're gonna do some more giveaways there of products and stuff, so please sign up to the newsletter. Gonna keep publishing that a little bit more frequently and have a bit more unique writing in it. That's the plan. So subscribe, it's free, and you can do so on tennisnerd.net. So we saw that match, then we saw Iga versus Coco Gauff, which was a great match. Really proved that women's tennis is a great product, especially now when you have kind of the big four. You have Iga on the top, but you have Sabalenka just on the heels behind there, Rybakina, who seems to be the only one who really can beat Iga in these situations, and Coco Gauff, who's also playing really well. So that match was great. Coco played exceptionally well, just that she played Iga on clay. She's like a living legend now, and only 23 years old in a few weeks, and keeps on racking up titles and winning these matches in straight sets easily. Just an icon in the game already. So it was fun to see her live and to see her in action, and I'm super impressed by the ball striking and explosiveness of both players, but especially by Iga, who always seems to be balanced, a bit like Jannik Sinner in the men's game. The men's tournament, we only saw that match on the singles side. We did see a really cool doubles match with Ben Shelton and Alexander Bublik versus two other strong players, in this case the Argentinians Cerundolo and Echeverry. So this was a great doubles match, fun to watch it at the Grandstand Arena, where it's a little bit smaller, you get closer to the action, and that's more enjoyable in my opinion. We also went to the famous Pietrangeli court, which is kind of lower down a bit, surrounded by Roman statues, free 4 grounds pass, so that was great. Tickets are expensive in Rome, and I wouldn't recommend to go to the second week unless you really want to be sure to see some like quarterfinals and semifinals and so on. With this new long format, it would have been better to go the week before, but we couldn't do that due to scheduling. We had a great stay in Rome though, great hotel, great food, the usual awesome stuff when you go to Rome. So I can really recommend going to the Masters tournament. As you know, Iga won the women's title, winning in straight sets against Sabalenka in the final, and we had Zverev beating Jarry in the final. On the men's side, 2 tight sets as predicted by Simon Seitler. On tennisnerd.net, you have predictions for all the key matches there, so make sure to check that out. Zverev has won now Rome twice. He's going to be one of the key players to watch for the French Open. He's always a threat on every surface and played a strong tournament. He did not face anyone ranked higher than him or top 10, but he got the job done. Very impressive by Jarry though. His highest level is very high, and he showed that this tournament, 2 meters tall, hits bombs on the serve and plays very aggressive ball striking from the baseline as well, and likes to come to the net. I did write about his racket on tennisnerd.net. It's a Blade 98. He used to play with the H19, which is like the Ultra Pro, but gets a bit more power from the Blade Pro stock. I don't know exactly what layup, meaning what's inside the racket. But on the screen here you have the specs, nothing outrageous, around 350 strung swing weight, nothing super heavy or light. It's just a pretty standard pro stock style racket, especially for these big guys. Strings it with Luxulon 4G. So Nico Jarry, I'm sure you will see at the French Open as well. He can do well, he can also have a dip in form, time will tell. Keen to hear in the comments who you think will be winning the French Open. There's so many question marks. We have a stacked draw in Geneva now. Novak playing, Murray playing, so many good players in the draw, trying to get that last warm-up before the French Open. I think Novak realized that he needs more matches, even if he is a legend in the game and amazingly adept at just going to a slam and winning it. It doesn't always work, and now the field is stronger and stronger and stronger, and the level of players is like it's getting more and more competitive on all levels of tennis. I think he realizes he needs a bit more of a tune-up before the French Open. So we'll see how he can perform in Geneva. Maybe then he gets back to winning ways. We've also seen footage of Jannik Sinner, despite hip issues, finally playing some tennis. He was off tennis for almost 2 weeks, from what I heard, and now he's back to playing again. So that's a positive sign. Hopefully we can see him at the French Open, and you can really see the Sinner hysteria in the Rome Masters. There was even a shop dedicated to Sinner merchandise. Really funny stuff. That's how big of a sporting star this guy is, and deservedly so. He is soon maybe world #1, depending on if Novak can win the French Open or reach the final. Otherwise, most likely we have Sinner as the new world #1 after an amazing year he's had so far already. But we hope for more success for him. Alcaraz has also been seen training, so we do hope we get like a pretty fresh Nadal, Alcaraz and Sinner and Novak, of course, for the French Open. So we have a super competitive one, while this Rome tournament was a little bit odd on the men's side. Very nice on the women's side with these players, except Rybakina, who had an illness. In the men's side, it feels more open than ever. Rune is not playing well. Rublev is on and off. Yeah, it's completely open, I think, on the men's side for the first time in a long time. Let's get over to gear a bit. I'm actually stringing up Head Prestige Pro 1619. This is a model I've been asking for years about. It was available as kind of a pro stock. Now it's also available in retail, at least in Europe. This is from Tennis Warehouse Europe. So it's the Prestige Pro 1820 is the usual string pattern of that one. 320 grams unstrung, 20mm beam, a control racket. Here they have it in 1619 pattern. That's going to be exciting to try. So I'm stringing that one up with a hybrid now. Hybrid being where you have 2 different strings. Gonna test that and review to come. There's also many other reviews. You on Patreon and YouTube members, you already know what I think about the Vulcan Vustra and the Technifiber TF-X1 version 2, the 98 range. I've already published the thoughts there. You also know how much I like the new Prince Phantoms. You on the regular YouTube, you will have to wait a bit and I will get to the reviews. It's been quite a time-consuming period, but I hope to get going. Thanks to Adam for helping me with some editing. As first time in my life I have an editor, so we're trying that, so that's good. Not for these videos because I have to be fast with those, but lots of reviews to come. I'm gonna test this one. String reviews coming up. I'm testing a new prototype from Toraline as well. I have a new bag called the Rocket, which I've been enjoying. Quite an interesting design bag, but really good quality. High price for this, I think around $395. But there's a 30% discount if you use the code TennisNerd30. So check out that bag. I've really been using it quite a lot these last few weeks, and it's been great because it holds enough stuff, has pockets for everything, really everything, like laptop pocket, phone pocket, glasses pocket, everything, kind of dedicated pockets, which I think is really good, especially for me who likes some order in the chaos. I want to hear from you now if there's any kind of content around the best control rackets on the market or any other category or question you want me to tackle around gear. I will get to working on that. So let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to see. Last week I talked about Andy Murray switching to the Yonex Eson 100. He did so, won the first match after retirement from the French player. Then in the second round he lost, and now he's in Geneva and we will see how he fares. Obviously getting used to a racket in a competitive setting is not going to be instant, but we might see some positive signs. It did look like he got some easier points with that racket, but then when you look back, there's also going to be more unforced errors. So this is a trade-off that he has to get used to, and he might have to adapt his style and thinking around the points a bit, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. One more news coming out is obviously of Dominic Thiem's retirement. We've written about that on tennisnerd.net. It's a sad story. But if you look at the kind of glass half full side of things, he did win a Grand Slam, deservedly so. He did beat all the top 3 GOAT players, and he had a great career with many titles and that Grand Slam to kind of finish it off. Maybe mentally he was not quite the same after that. It was a weird event as well during COVID, so You cannot really blame him for that. Then all these wrist issues have bothered him. I was surprised to see that the French Federation did not find it suitable to give Domi Thiem a wild card for his last French Open. Instead, he has to go through qualis. The same with Diego Schwartzman. Both of these players with great careers, and they still have to qualify. They could be getting wild cards, but obviously if you're giving wild cards to your local talents, they get some money, and that saves the federation some money, maybe. That's always the game they play. They need to urge their new talents on, but I think it would have been nice to give Schwartzman and Thiem wild cards. There's also players on the women's side you can give maybe to Halep and so on, but those two players stood out for me. But this is the French Federation, they do whatever they want. I saw parts of the qualifier first round at the French Open today, and Thiem won. So he won a match. We hope that he gets to play a main draw. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out tennisnerd.net every day. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with the content we produce. I hope to bring more varied content. And if you're traveling to some tournaments this summer or whenever on the Pro Tour, please get in touch if you want to supply some writing or video content that we can use on the channel. You will get compensated. We don't have huge budgets, but it will be fun to have some more user-generated content on the website and on the YouTube channel. We always think of Tennis Nerd as a community, and that would be one way of doing it more like that. Okay, that's it. Have a nice day now, and don't forget to play some tennis.